Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television right now where you, the MSME, get center stage to voice your opinions and thoughts. This is ET special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center on every industry and area that matters to you. Today on the show on Direct Connect, a panel of experts answering all of the queries that you've sent in to us, and later on, we're featuring Mirchi and Mime and Snackable in a food special on our Small Giant segment. Our experts in studio this week on Direct Connect are Prabhakar Dalal. He's the former executive director of the Exim Bank, as well as Vikram Gupta, founder and managing partner of Ivy Cap Ventures. Gentlemen, as always, thank you both very much for being here tonight. Our first query then tonight is an email that's coming to us from Lalji Savla. You can always write in to us with any queries you may have on leaders of tomorrow at timesgroup.com, and we assure you that we'll get you the best expert answer possible. He's written in to us to say that he's in the cold storage business. His question is, can he get benefits available to infrastructure companies, and how he goes about finding a venture capitalist who will stay invested for at least 10 years. Vikram, would you be interested in staying invested for 10 years no matter what the business is? So,
first of all, as far as I understand, I think cold storage is considered as a sub-sector within infrastructure. So, I think they should get benefits as part of that. Now, the second part of the question in terms of the venture capital interest. So, of course, there are funds which are infrastructure focused funds which will be very interested in businesses like these, and depending on the nature of the business, if they are focused on, let's say, I'm assuming food storage, etc., is what they are looking at, then agriculture and food related funds which are focused in those areas will be quite interested in their business.
If I may add,
sure.
Ministry of Food Processing Industries has already announced a scheme for this, and for vegetables, dairy products, and for horticulture products. They provide some subsidy.
All right. So, you are in a good space, Lalji, in terms of getting subsidies, and like Vikram was saying, this is a subset really of the entire logistics industry. So, do look out for any kind of fundraising that might help you in your growth story. The next question is coming to us from Harindra Dave. Harindra?
We have been working with the large number of SMEs, and one of the major problems with SME is to get the fund without adequate collateral security. So, for that the government has come out with two great scheme. First they came out with the CGT SME and then Mudra. Both are working very well. But the thing is that there is not enough awareness about the scheme and its requirement and the process through which they can avail this benefit, especially in the SMEs located in the far off areas. So, how can and what can be done so that this awareness reaches to the nook and corner of the country in the manufacturing field, so that these SME come to know about it and come forward to take the benefit?
All right, thanks for that question, Harendra. We talk quite a bit about government schemes, and CGT MSME is one of those crucial ones. I know that the government has increased the cap under that, but he's saying there's still not enough information which is being disseminated. How do you sort of advise him to overcome that?
Well, like he mentioned about CGT SME and Mudra schemes. So, those schemes are available, but to create more awareness, all the commercial banks, cooperative banks, various chambers of commerce, and program like this, various publications are there for SME, there are websites. So, people should come forward and access information which is available in public domain, and banks and government agencies should create awareness about various schemes that are available.
I think, but this is a valid concern. There are still a large number of people in this country who may not necessarily be aware. So, are there other ways to promote this? Of course, if one goes out to look for information, they can find. But what about those people who may not be actually looking for this information and don't know about this? So, I think there are ways to promote through maybe various branches of maybe rural banks or banks who have branches in rural India, plus of course some proactive campaigns can happen that may actually create more awareness of such schemes.
All right, That's Harendra, in response to your question. There is enough information, and if you still feel that you're not getting the kind of information that you require, it's being suggested that you become a member of MSME specific trade bodies. Our next question is coming to us from Manoj. Go ahead.
One of the things that has always been a challenge for a company like ours is that we are in the services industry, and we are always looking for great mentors, great experts who can provide guidance to us. So we are looking for advice on how a services industry company like in the financial consulting business can get good people who can open doors, who can build networks for us, and as well as provide expertise and guidance to us.
All right, Manoj, thanks for that question. And Vikram, one of the things that we do, ask the venture capitalists and PE experts who come on our panel discussions is about mentoring, which is offered to companies that you're investing in. Now, if a company doesn't have an investor on board, how do they overcome this particular challenge?
So, in fact, we identified this challenge a while ago, and we ourselves have set up a platform called Ivy Camp, which has about 5,000 mentors on the platform. And
across
part of
industries, I presume.
Yeah. So, it's basically, in fact, lots of IITians, IIM graduates who are actually on that platform are happy to give some of their time to these startups. Of course, there's some give and take in terms of they may ask for 1% equity in those companies because they're actually giving their time. They may not be asking for a retainer or a compensation on a monthly basis. So I think it's a win-win model from that perspective.
All right. So that's, if you're looking for a mentor, you can definitely tap into networks like the one Vikram was saying, and all the best for you in terms of finding the right mentor. And like he said, it's good that you are looking and you've realized the importance of having a mentor on board. Our next question is coming to us from Mohammad Mukaddam. He's written in to us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Leaders of Tomorrow, and do remember that you can always write in to us there and we will get your questions answered here right in the show. He's written in to us to say, is the new age of entrepreneurship taking a wrong direction with thousands of crores of investments coming in? Are we losing the fundamental concept of what a business is? Where does this road lead to? What do you suggest? Maybe I can start with you, Vikram.
Of course, there are going to be initial issues in terms of having profits early on. So that's the reason Flipkart, Ola, all the billion-dollar companies will continue to make losses for some time because their idea is to keep investing until they've got these customers who do not yet understand the value of these businesses. Changing the mindset of a consumer who has never shopped online to shop online requires some investment, and a lot of that money is going into that change of mindset. So I would say that it's a matter of another few years, and any new business model takes time. So all these models were very new 5 years ago, and I think they're reaching a point where another 3-4 years they should be seeing profitability happening, or they should be citing profitability.
Okay, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, in the globalized world, this is inevitable because the big MNCs with deep pockets will pour in money. They can sustain losses for some time, and they can age out the competition, and therefore those viable units will only survive, and those who are not strong enough may not stand the competition. So this is bound to happen in this current scenario, especially telecom and e-commerce and certain sectors. This has been happening.
And is it a good thing that we are seeing valuations correcting?
Yes, valuation should correct because even if they are incurring losses, valuations are very high at the moment.
Okay. Mohammed, so the short answer to your question is that valuations are correcting, and it's definitely a good thing, and we could see the true value really of various industries going forward. Let's take in one last question then, and we have time for one question on this segment before we wrap up, and that's coming to us from Rahul Beg. He's written to us on Facebook to say he's a marketing B2B and his biggest challenge is executing the campaign. The lack of systems to help with marketing execution is the death, he says, of many marketing ideas. Opportunities and relationships are lost because processes have failed. How can he execute campaigns in a proper and smooth manner? And I presume he's talking about technology, and technology really holding up because he's a marketing B2B. Any sort of advice you have for him?
So I think one thing which is changing the entire marketing world is, personalization and very targeted marketing. So in the age of Google, IoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence, there are possible methods where you can really identify your target customers in few seconds, right? So there are quite a few companies who are building billion-dollar companies based on just this concept. And of course, the traditional methods of marketing are now going away because you don't want to be using mass media where you only want to focus on a particular geography. So technology actually is able to help really do a very focused marketing. So I think there are various platforms which are available if somebody is trying to do very focused marketing.
Okay, Rahul, thanks for sending us that question. And on that note, completely out of time on this segment. As always, a pleasure having both of you in studio with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time for a break. Then on this note, on the other side, we'll feature Mirchi and Mime and Snackable. That's coming up on our Small Giant segment. You're back with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight on our Small Giants segment, we're talking all things food featuring Mirchi and Mime and Snackable. At Mumbai-based Mirchi and Mime, ordering off the menu is a somewhat unconventional experience. Here, sign language is embraced as the primary mode of communication, with waiters and patrons alike leveraging it to indulge in a delicious meal. Anshua Banerjee has this story on entrepreneurs and how they can tap into different and the differently abled for successful ventures. Take a look.
Actions do speak louder than words, and it is no different when it comes to food. Well, that is the idea behind Mitchi and Mime. The waiting staff in this restaurant might not be able to hear or speak, but they do know how to serve you with a beaming smile. Supported entirely by hearing and speech-impaired waiting staff, this Mumbai-based eatery employs the differently abled, leveraging sign language in the most innovative yet delicious of ways.
Now, the deaf and mute are often cast aside and they do not receive mainstream employment opportunities. However, with this venture, you definitely managed to turn the tables. Please take us through the initial inspiration behind Mirchi and Mime.
We were thinking of a concept. It had to be restaurants because that's what I have been doing all my life. And whilst we were thinking about this concept and also approaching investors, we found these two guys who told us about a video they had seen on Facebook about a restaurant in Canada, in Toronto, which had this concept. And we felt that it was definitely aligning with our values, so why not do this? And that's where we kind of started.
Please tell us, how do you seek your staff, train them and finally put them towards the path of economic empowerment?
We connected with a lot of NGOs, we connected with various institutions, but there are these two institutions which kind of stood out and from where we got most of our staff. One is the Rochiram Thadani High School for the Hearing Handicapped, and the other one is called NASIO. It is National Society for Economic Opportunities for the Handicapped. And both of them, the people who are running these two institutions were so supportive and so excited about this concept or what we were trying to do. And that they introduced us to parents. Of course, there were challenges along the way. They introduced us to parents and we started meeting them. I and Anuj, we kind of learned a bit of sign language ourselves, hired a tutor, then we started interacting with them, and that's how we then hired most of our staff.
So how do customers describe their dining experience at Mirchi and Mime?
So we wanted the customer experience to be very seamless. They are coming into a restaurant, you know, and that is when they will come back again and again. Otherwise, it becomes a check in the box experience. Oh yes, I know, I've been to that restaurant, there are speech and hearing impaired individuals and we just have to order in sign language, so that's done and dusted. We didn't want that. So we designed our menu in the form of a matrix. So every column and every row has a sign. So you can take the sign at the top of the column and the corresponding number sign for the row, and that you can order any dish, or you can simply point at the dish.
So employees at this restaurant clearly need more hands on specialized training. How does that impact the viability of your business model?
Well, we had designed a training module, a training program for them with 4 modules. There was life sciences, job readiness, simple English and hospitality skills. Our qualification requirement for them to join us were nothing. It was just that they should have integrity and commitment towards making it a success.
How's your customer mix like? Can we say dining here is a once in a lifetime experience?
I would think, well, our customer mix is very wide. There are people who are doing some corporate entertainment, there are families, there are youngsters, as well as there are grown-ups. So it's a wide mix. Well, I would like this experience to be, as I said, seamless, so as subtle as possible. During the course of the meal, our intent is for the customer to actually even forget the concept, which they actually say. So it has to be as simple an experience as any other restaurant.
Talk to us about your funding journey. Are investors apprehensive to fund such kind of businesses?
So the 2 investors who invested in us first, who actually told us about the concept, well, they put in a lot of money, plus friends and families, and we have been now looking at you know, the Series A funding, which is slightly difficult to come, because yes, people do think of it as a social enterprise. However, I think it's a business.
As we come to an end of this conversation, we definitely know that Mirchi and Mime is poised to grow. If you go back in history and talk to us about that one personal accomplishment you're most proud of.
Yes, recently we were invited to the homes of one of our employees, and she is a part of a family of 4, and we realized that she's the only earning member of a family. So who was once considered a liability is now an asset. We've also realized, and what we've tried to do is we've hired them for their abilities and not their disability. That is what we like other people to do as well. We say that we serve good food quietly. We also say that we hire our staff for their abilities and not their disability. And that's what we'd like everyone else to do.
Establishing an eatery in an era where new restaurants open and close in the blink of an eye is no small feat. And yet Mirchi and Mime has carved a unique niche for itself with its recurrent client base serving as its biggest proof point. The servers who communicate only in sign language show that in this industry, different is always good.
We all at some point have realized that a good snack can be a motivator on a drab day, and making this quest for the perfect snack a little simpler is Snackable. Shubhangi Sinha caught up with the founder to unlock the mystery of avoiding a snack crunch without that being unhealthy, and tips for entrepreneurs in creating a niche in the crowded F&B space. Take a look.
Games at the stroke of 4 p.m. have got the best of us going from happy to hangry faster than a bullet train. And not finding a snack to satiate that craving is a scenario that has managed to cross oceans of age and demography. Having fallen prey to one of these cravings, 27-year-old entrepreneur Aditya Sanghvi set out on a mission to revolutionize the Indian snacking industry through Mumbai-based Snackable, which hopes to bring to its consumers a range of healthy snacks sans maida, sugar and excess calories. Aditya, we've all had moments where we were craving something to eat at 4 p.m, whether it's a samosa or kachori. Now, you of course decided to not stay hungry or foolish and started Snackable. So, what was the inspiration really like, and what was the gap that you were trying to bridge when you first got into this market?
So Snackable was started and conceptualized when I was working in a company based out of Mumbai. So one thing we realized was the eating patterns that me and my colleagues had in the company. Between 4:30 and 6 we would land up munching on all kinds of junk food, ranging from samosas to kachoris to packaged snacks which you get from your local vendor. And one thing is, you know, after a certain point you reach a point where you want something different, you want something healthier, but there were not a lot of options available. That's why we hit a roadblock. So we went to Kirana stores, there are no options available, general stores, again no options available, modern trade, supermarkets, yes, there were a few options available.
Sure, so I'm understanding that owing to the need of getting taste into the mix of healthy snacks, innovation must be really important to you. So what is the innovation backend really like at Snackable?
So innovation is a extremely critical part of our business model today, and how the entire innovation cycle works is it starts from a concept stage and goes till market entry. So when it comes to a concept stage, what happens is the first step is to create product ideas where we do research on international markets, what is working there, what is working in the Indian markets, how we can take traditional concepts which are based in India and make them healthier, right? Once a concept is ready, there's a team of food technologists and nutritionists who work on materializing these concepts into final products. So there's a lot of testing which has to be done, a lot of recipe creation which has to be done, focus group testing, sample group testing and sensory testing as well. Then once a product is somewhat finalized, we send it to labs for some basic testing on nutritional facts and shelf life, and then it's put into manufacturing and it hits the shelf. So that's how our entire innovation cycle works. So generally a product life cycle from concept stage to market entry generally lasts about 3 months.
Right, but Aditya, don't you think that there are a lot of other companies who are entering the space of healthy snacks gradually? And what do you really think in that case is your differentiator? What is Snackable's USP?
Each of our products is made differently from what is available in the market. For example, our whole wheat waffles, right? These are products which are not available across the country. We are one of the only companies in the country who may be making it. And they are whole wheat, they are ready to eat, they are on the go. So they are highly differentiated from all the competitors and the products that they have to offer.
Right, so I think you first began with a subscription model for Snackable and then changed that. So do you think that this pivot has helped you reach your target audience a little better?
We realized very early on that a subscription only model is not sustainable for a business as a core function. It has to be an ancillary function of sales. When we realized this, obviously we expanded our channels of sales almost immediately into a la carte, into retail, into institutional sales. And since then, you know, we have been supplying across the country, right, in different ways. But one thing that we realized when it came to subscriptions, one of the reasons why subscription is not a viable business model on a standalone basis is RBI regulations, right? So RBI does not allow recurring payments without the two-step verification. So what happens is when a customer is ordering a subscription, say for 3 months, he has to pay the entire amount upfront, which is not something that the entire market would be open to. It's a niche market who actually value the convenience of a subscription, who would actually subscribe to it, right? Second is freedom of choice, right? Indians love their freedom of choice. They want to be able to choose what quantity, what flavor, when they get it delivered and in what quantities they get it delivered, right? So that is another factor which plays a role in subscription not being ideal as an option.
So in fact, would you say that this has also helped you in getting investors? And I understand that you were recently funded.
Absolutely. So today what investors are looking for, right, is a consumer goods company, a consumer brand, because there is a dire need in this country for that, right? So they are looking for interesting product concepts which have a multi-channel sales avenues, right, which they can focus on, and that's where I think we had an advantage, because we were not only focused on one channel of sales, we had a diversified sales channel.
Providing a solution to the perpetual evening snack crunch, Snackable is well on the way to its customers' hearts through their stomachs.
That wraps up this episode then of the Leaders of Tomorrow. If you want to be featured on the show, or you want to get in touch with us, you want to give us your thoughts, you can always write in at leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com. You can reach us on social media on Twitter using the hashtag LOT. Tweet at me personally at Sunanda_J, or reach us on our Facebook page on Leaders of Tomorrow, on ET Now, or call us on the number you see on your screen. We love hearing from you, so keep those thoughts coming in. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.